So good evening, everyone. Today is the 31st of August, and I'm so happy to see all of you here. I know it's the last day of the month. I know you're all super busy. Good evening if you're joining us from Southeast Asia. Good morning if you're in the US, and if you're joining us from Europe, good afternoon. Exciting news, I guess a couple of different things. Number one is so good to see you all here after a 2-week break. And number two is we're going to be talking about the key to building a successful doTERRA business. So it may not be exactly what you're thinking. You may be thinking, and actually maybe I'll ask you in the chat, what do you think the key is? Because I haven't revealed it yet, but I have to say, I really feel that this is the key, and you need to know this particular skill to be able to build your doTERRA business really strong. So those of you who have been here for a while, welcome back. If you're new today, please tell me in the chat that you're new. I want to hear who's new today. I want to hear everybody. What are you doing? Who invited you? We're still working on that WhatsApp chat group. We've had a little bit of a delay. I have to say I haven't worked on anything for about 2 weeks. So today, I'm back at work today, and I'll be making some adjustments and making sure that you all get onto those WhatsApp chat groups so that you're able to invite your friends. So Doreen says she's new. Hi, Doreen. Welcome. Simon says, welcome back. Thank you so much. Gerald says, I'm new. Hey, Gerald, how are you? So happy that you're here. Doreen, you too. Tell me where you are. Are you in Singapore? You're in some place in Southeast Asia or here in the United States? I want to hear from you. Doreen says she's in Singapore. Okay, so good news. I'm glad everybody's here. I want to also get started with the presentation. And as I'm kind of going along, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my trip, and then I can fill you in with some things at the end there. The last thing I want to mention to you is that today is not only the last day of our August, but we're basically about a week away, more or less, from convention, and that's a really important thing. And so I want a little bit more than a week. We're about a week and a half away from convention. So I want you to kind of really start thinking about, okay, am I registered? What am I doing? And we're going to talk about that during the presentation. So number one is, in the chat, you tell me what you think the number one thing is, the number one key to a successful doTERRA business. And I'll tell you right now, I don't think it is enrollments, of course, and it is hosting meetings, right? But it's something a little bit more intangible. So what is that intangible thing that's the key to doTERRA business? So tell me first in the chat, and then I'm going to get started. I'm going to start sharing my screen with you. You're going to have an interesting, I think an interesting bit of news today. Okay, so Teresa, hi Teresa, good to see you. She says, caring about others and leading from the heart. You're right on the right track. And Yahweh says, sharing love, absolutely. And Sharnice says, also love. I think you're all on the right track. So you're getting my drift. So the key to doTERRA business, and you're gonna see in 1 minute, as soon as I can share with you. So let me know when you can see my screen. Just give me a thumbs up if you would, or if you can, whoops, can you all see me? I hope so. Yep, there we go. Hi, everyone. I bumped myself off. I don't know how I did that. And here I am, I'm back again. So let me get going with the recording. No, we're still recording. Hello. Sorry about that. So yes, if you've been on for a few minutes, you know that we've been talking about what's the best way to join, what's the best way to build a doTERRA business. So let me share my screen again and see what I can do this time, if I can do it right. Let me know if you can see my screen. Give me a thumbs up. Danielle, can you see my screen? Because I can see your face. Yes, okay, thank you so much. You're the one person I can see right now. Much better, there we go. Okay, let's get a little bit organized here today. Okay, so natural and pure, the key to a successful doTERRA business, and here's two ladies giving each other a high five. So you can imagine what the successful link is, the key is, and it is friendships. Yes. So I know though over the last few months, we've all had a little bit of trouble with friendships. It's been a challenge to get together with people. It's been a challenge to see people. I know myself, there's between quarantining and social distancing and shelter in place and, you know, making sure that I'm obeying all the different sorts of rules and things. It's been maybe more difficult and more of a challenge to see people. But I feel like I've actually improved some of my friendships. Part of the reason why is I think we're being more constant with each other and we're being more concerned. We're really making the effort to reach out to other people, because if we don't, we are going to be fairly isolated. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm setting up dates with my friends and my family. I'm reaching out on a regular basis. And because people aren't doing as much, they're mostly at home, especially they're not traveling, you're more likely to link up with people. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. First story about my trip is that I left New Jersey a little over 2 weeks ago, started driving, made a couple of stops on the way down. And when I arrived, my first actual real resting place was Dallas, Texas. And when I got there, the wonderful thing was my husband and I actually looked up some old friends, people that we knew, colleagues, people that we had met over the years, and said, hey, we're in town, friends of my daughters, friends of my sons, we're in town. We'd love to get together if possible. And the most miraculous thing was everybody said yes. Everybody said, we're home. Come to our front yard, come to our backyard, meet us in a restaurant, whatever the regulations were in Dallas at the time that we arrived. We were able to do social distancing. It was just so heartwarming. Former colleagues of my husband's, parents of my daughter's friends, one of my husband's former professors back when he was at Princeton many years ago, just amazing. So we were I have to say my heart was just really open to see the warmth and the generosity. And the other beautiful thing was that everyone said, if your son needs anything, please let him know that I'm here. And so that just outpouring of friendship and warmth and caring meant so much to Jose and me and my son Henry. And it made me think, okay, this is a sort of a magical time. And maybe if Corona or COVID has given us the opportunity to do some different things with different people, then this is really something unique. One of my nephews, many of you know that I have a lot of nieces and nephews, mostly from my husband's side of the family, because he comes from a large family. And one of my nephews lives in Chicago, but he has a very good friend who lives in Dallas, Texas. And even that friend who never met us before and is a friend of my nephew said, absolutely anything you need, I'm right here. So that kind of outpouring of just love and affection and caring was so important to me and really made me feel wonderful. So if you've had that experience over COVID, that you've been able to build a friendship, I want to hear about it. So start beginning to hear. I'm going to ask you for a few shout outs because I want to hear who are the people that have really gone above and beyond for you during COVID. Okay. The other virtue that I think I've learned, or I've learned in a better way, is grace. I know sometimes it's hard not to feel stuck and lonely, and that even though we've been inside for a long time, it's forced me to allow for more grace in my life and to be more graceful with others, to be more accepting, to understand that other people are struggling in some of the ways that maybe I am too, or maybe that I'm not. And so that their struggles have become more real to me. It's allowed me to open up to that grace and also to be a little bit more empathetic, which is not one of my strong points, but I am clearly beginning to see that empathy is an important characteristic and something that we need to develop. Grace also in knowing that regardless of how much I'm reaching out to people outside of my general household, not everyone will always have a pep in their step or feel 100% supported. There are going to be some people that feel like they're kind of falling through the cracks. And I feel like it's our job as doTERRA wellness advocates and representatives of a company that really is so warm and caring and going the extra mile, if you will, especially now in the pre-convention days, to make sure that we feel supported. And then finally, the grace to listen when someone is feeling down, and finally to maybe pray for others when I can't see them or know exactly what their situation is. So if you have already registered for convention, if you've already gotten your online registration, tell me in the chat. And actually, I just heard from Danielle, who's saying she's making deeper, more meaningful friendships that I really appreciate more during this time. You appreciate the little things now. And yes, that is so very true. I'm finding that even the smallest things mean so much to me. So on the 8th of September, we are going to start here in New Jersey. We're going to be starting the celebration. Part of that is because there are quite a few of us right here in New Jersey, not too far from my house. So if you are in New Jersey or near to New Jersey, we would love to see you. We're going to be putting together a little gathering, and we're sending out invitations over the next few weeks. So if you're right near here, we'd love to see you. Come on over. This was actually prompted, this photo was prompted by a holiday here in the US, not a big one, but maybe should be a little bit bigger, called National Girlfriend's Day, which was actually back in the beginning of August. And I began to think about the wonderful women and men who've supported me and my family. And so this week's presentation is all about shouting out to people who have kept me sane and strong during COVID, and the steps I've taken to make sure those about me who feel like they have a support system and a good friend in me. I think one of our keys as doTERRA wellness advocates is that idea of support. We are supporting others, and we're helping them on their journey of good health, of wellness, and also feeling connected. So that feeling of connection, of building a community, a group, is such a powerful one. As we know, many of us are very disconnected and extremely isolated, especially those of us who live in big cities or work near big cities. It's difficult for us to connect with others. I'm going to give you some pointers, not only for essential oils that you can use that are going to help you with connecting with oils. I'm also going to give you some resources that I think will help you to connect with others if you tend to be shy. So I know some of you on this Zoom are kind of shy, and that for you it might be a little bit tricky for you to reach out to people, but I'm going to try to give you some tips. But the first thing I want to do is I want to do a couple of shout outs, and then I want you to shout out to a couple of people. So if I see really good shout outs, I'm going to talk about them online, and you know this gets this presentation is posted on YouTube, so they're going to hear my voice and they're going to hear your shout outs if you give me some shout outs. So I'm going to ask you to shout out to 3 people, 3 shout outs while I'm talking, and I want to hear really why are you sending them love? What's their thing that they did for you or they do for you on a regular basis? And so get in the chat and tell me, who are your shout outs? So my number 1 shout out is a lady who I've known for many years. And it's actually going to surprise you because she was the one who kind of started me on my my journey, I guess, of grace when I first had my children. She's kind of one of these unsung heroes. Her name is Jennifer M. and she knows who she is. She lives here in New Jersey. She's been a very grounding and supportive person during all my I want to say all my adult family life, just years and years, and has come to my aid and been a person who kind of guided me in my path for just all of my children's lives. Checks in on me regularly, listening to my saga about my mom's health and woes. And she's always keeping me in her prayers and inspiring me with her faith. So to Jennifer M., I want to just shout out to you. You know who you are. Just a big thank you. She's the person who, she's one of those quieter people, I would say, but knows really how to be a friend. So if you know a person like a Jennifer M., I want you to kind of tell me in the chat, who's your first shout out to you? And who's your first shout out? Because I want to hear who that person is. During this time of COVID, we have had the great good fortune to be able to have a space in the back of our house where our patio in the back of our house where we can invite people when people have been able to come over. So as restrictions have kind of loosened up a little bit, we've been able to invite a few people here and have them over and feel like they have a home here with us. I know that there's still people that are super nervous. When I was on the road, I have some family members that were still feeling very uncertain, and because of comorbidity risks, were less inclined to want to go out or to want to, even though certain social norms have been restored. If you go out of the New York, New Jersey region, there are restaurants are beginning to open. You can eat indoors. In fact, I want to hear from you in the chats. What's going on in your region? Are you able to eat in restaurants? Are you able to go to gyms? Let me know what's going on. So I'm beginning to hear back. Danielle says she's made deeper, more meaningful friendships that I really appreciate during this time. You appreciate the little things now. She says that Teresa C. has been a great friend and wonderful, supportive leader, and she lifted me up when I needed it most. I will never forget it. Wow, that's a great shout out. Thank you, Danielle, for shouting out, and congratulations, Teresa, because I know you're on this. You're on with us this morning. Elaine Q says, first shout out to my mom and dad. Yeah, absolutely. They're miles away from me, but they check on me almost every day, even if I should be the one doing the checking. That's so true. Isn't that true? I find sometimes you'll get a call from someone and they're checking up on you, and sometimes you'll actually think, oh, I'm so embarrassed. I should have been the one who made this call. But you know what? God bless those people who are reaching out to us. It really makes such a big difference. Okay, so my shout out number 2, interestingly enough, is most of you know Carrie Donegan. And what's interesting is Jennifer M. was the one who introduced me to Carrie Donegan. And that's why Jennifer M. comes first for me, because she was the one who basically said, who can I put together? Who are the friendships that I can help to form? And that's super important. As we go out and we work on our doTERRA business, we want to begin to think, who are the friendships that I can begin to form? Who are the partnerships? What are the teams that I can begin to form? So that creative thinking that you need to do as a doTERRA wellness advocate is important. It's not just who can join my team, it's what teams can I help to put together that will bond and will really begin to click in a way that maybe they hadn't before. And you can group people by region, you can group them by personality, you can group them by interest, age group, family lifestyle. There are tons of ways that you can begin to connect people, but it's really important. And learn that skill of introducing people. Always keep people in the loop. So you all know Carrie. We have a long history together, families, kids, travel, work. And the last 3 years really have been a blur I think for both of us because of family obligations. But true friendships run deep, and COVID has given us the extra time and space we need to reconnect and really talk the way we used to before life intervened. So my second shout out is to Carrie D. And I have one more shout out, and I want to make sure that you hear this one because it's an important one. So now Teresa says, family members that are always there to check in and support, doTERRA team members like her upline. Danielle, who just shouted out to her. She's a positive force in her local team and has a great sense of humor. Okay, that's cool, Danielle. I don't know if I've heard your sense of humor in person, but I'd love to. Karen, who is always there, plus others, close friends that continue there through good times and bad times. She feels blessed. That's great. And Christy says, shout out to her mom, Brenda A., for everything. Shout out to her sister, Amanda W., and for always being on her side. Shout out to Heather W. for always being there to guide her. And Teresa again. Wow, Teresa, you're getting a lot of shout outs today, for gifting her the Modern Essentials book a couple of years ago at Elite Retreat. And she's put it to very good use and thinking fondly of you each time I use it. So you never know how you touch another life. And so even the smallest kindness, the courtesies, a note written can be something that really touches another person. Okay, and so the last shout out is actually to all of you. I feel like each and every week that we get together, you are supporting me at the same time that I'm trying to support you. I very often get on this call and I feel, wow, they're saying things that just make so much sense to me, or that you'll say something in the chat that just provokes a thought that I didn't have before. And I love the idea that we're able to communicate across the miles in this live format. And while we can't all get on and start talking at the same time, because it would be just a lot of noise and we wouldn't really enjoy it, the idea that we can be here every week together, we can be talking to each other. Many times I can see your faces. Just, it makes a big difference. And if one of you is missing, even for a week or so, and I don't know why, I think, wow, why aren't they here? So please know that when I think of my friends, I think of each and every one of you, first for being here and for being online. And when I get to see you in person, because I have the great good fortune to be able to see most of you at least once a year, and hopefully I'll be able to see you again soon. It's like a reunion, and that's the point of friendship. And the key to a doTERRA business, I think, is maintaining those friendships over and over the years. And last but not least, I think being forgiven, right? Forgiving others. Now we have a roll-on called Forgive, and I would encourage you to use it. We are all human, and sometimes we do things that are not so smart. I have definitely been guilty of that, of doing things that are less than nice, or just not being as sensitive as I could be to someone else's feelings or their expectations. And we want to make sure that not only do we forgive ourselves, but we forgive others. If someone says something to us or does something that we feel, oh, why are they doing that? Let's just take a deep breath for right now and give them the grace, have the grace to really just kind of forgive that person and say, you know what? It's a momentary lapse in judgment. Let's keep moving on. Fayreen says she's shouting out Yvonne C., her friend since high school, and she really took the great effort in keeping in touch all these years, and she's recently joined me on this doTERRA journey. That's so great. And sharing EO love with friends, and she says she loves her friend. That's beautiful, Fayreen. Thank you so much for sharing that. If you want to shout out anybody else, I'm happy to hear. I want to hear it in the chat. I know the chat is live, and you can keep shouting out as we go through this. I definitely have essential oil tips for you. Don't worry. So the last shout out, I'm going to give you one more shout out, is actually to a group of people. So my third shout out was to a group, and my fourth shout out is to a group. So the third shout out is to all of you, everyone who gets on this call every week and is with us live, and also all the people that listen afterwards. But the fourth shout out can be something like a book club, a group that meets regularly at your home, place of business, a cafe, whatever it is. And just, you know that you are putting together this group on a regular basis. So for me, it actually is a book club. I belong to a book club that I've mentioned to you before called the Well-Read Moms, and it is a worldwide book club. It's everyone reading the same book at the same time each month, which is really kind of cool. So to Anne, Brenda, Emmy, Jenica, Jennifer, Joan, Mo, Nina, Sarah, and Tara, You have lifted my spirits, given me insights, and helped me to grow. And reading well together has prepared us for the deeper conversations of life, better connections that I could not ever have hoped for. Our time together has offered me a space for self-reflection, for ideas to take root, and for that I will be forever grateful. So you can see that that group means a lot to me, but there are other groups that I've joined, including groups in my church and other online groups sometimes that just touch you in a way that you never thought you would have been touched. So shout out to those people. I want to hear who they are. And now I'm going to give you my tips for creating friendships. Maybe you're shy. Maybe you're not the type of person who says, oh, gee, I want to get together with people on a regular basis. Although in doTERRA, it's hard because we're always joining up, right? And we're always being in conversation with one another. But if you struggle sometimes with that, or you struggle sometimes with talking about doTERRA with others, I'm going to give you some tips, including some essential oils that are going to help you. So here's some tips. Keeping your friendships strong during a time of distancing, right? So any relationships that you formed, you want to keep them strong during this time of distancing. So number one are consistent meetings, right? You want to set up consistent meetings that you attend weekly or monthly or bi-weekly, whatever it is that you want. So for example, this call every Monday, everybody knows about it, right? And it's always been at the same time. It's 9 p.m. on Mondays, every Monday without fail, except if I tell you I'm not going to be there, right? So you can count on it. You feel like you can come. It's that sense of security. Someone's always going to be there. Same thing like a book club or a regular enrollment meeting or a regular intro to essential oils meeting or regular business meeting. Sometimes it may feel like you're repeating yourself again and again, but honestly, it's that idea of people feeling like she's always or he's always there. And I love that. I love the fact that I can call up some people and I know that they're going to be having their meeting and that I can go there. And that's a really good feeling. So whether it's in person, could be right now, or maybe just via Zoom, make sure that you have those calls every week with your friends, your colleagues, your team members. Set it up at the same time and schedule it into your calendar so you don't miss it. Once our shelter-in-place orders lifted a little bit here in New Jersey, started feeling a little bit better about social distancing with people, maybe outside of our family, set up outdoor meetups. We brought some coffee or food, maybe a cocktail or a mocktail of choice, covered ourselves in what? Terra Shield and citronella to keep the bugs away and chat it away. The other thing is you can add in your arborvitae if you're going to be sitting outdoors, or you can just apply arborvitae straight. If you like the smell of arborvitae, it is a very woody scent, and some people find it a little bit strong. So those are my first recommendations if you're going to be having outdoor meetings. Second thing are weekly favorites, right? So share your weekly favorites with people. This is a really important thing. I know that all of you have daily and weekly routines that you go through with doTERRA, whether it's an essential oil that you take under the tongue, or perhaps it's a vitamin that you take or a supplement that you're taking on a regular basis. Share your weekly favorites. It becomes almost like a recipe, and people begin to associate, this person does this. So I'm going to fill you in on a friend of mine, actually, who is a nutritionist, and she's been actually on this Zoom with me, Audrey Zona. And one of the things that she does is she regularly drinks a very healthy protein shake, and she varies it from time to time, but the key ingredients are for her some collagen or protein powder, and maybe a green vegetable like a kale or a spinach perhaps that she's adding in, and then a few other things for tastiness or vitamin boost, depending on what it is that she needs. But I know that I can always go to her any of her social media posts, whether it's on Instagram or wherever else that she's posting, and I can find those recipes and I can find what she's doing on a weekly basis. And for me, that repetition is extremely reassuring. I know that she's there. I know that I can find her. I see her posting on a regular basis, and I come back again and again and again because I can relate to what she's doing. So maybe you find an exciting new recipe, you make it for your family, and then get a little bit of, you know, a little bit frustrated when maybe the people in your family, like right now, or up until very recently, there were only 2 men living here with me, my husband and my son. And they don't always appreciate what goes into cooking a recipe. And I would cook something elaborate, and then they would go, "Oh, it's good. Yeah. Okay." For me, it was new and exciting. But what I started doing actually is one of my daughter's high school friends loves to cook. And sometimes I would send a snapshot of, just a quick photo of what it was I had cooked, send it to my daughter and her friend. And then they would say, "Wow, that sounds really cool. Where'd you get the recipe?" So being able to connect with like-minded people is super important. That we swap photos now, we swap recipes. She's swapping my daughter with now college friends that are first starting their apartments. It's really great to be able to just keep in contact with people in a new way. I have a couple more shout outs that I want to mention. Sihan says, shout out to me, Elena, for putting this effort to help so many people, and also my team in Malaysia. Thanks for being such a good friend to us, helping us grow all these years. Thank you, Sihan. It means a lot to me to hear that. Gerald Lim says, shout out to Vincent G, a new friend I met through work, for the friendship and for introducing me to dōTERRA Singapore, an exciting business opportunity. And Doreen says, shout out to Klana C, a dear friend of mine for 20 years and also a mentor to me. That's so important. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for those shout outs. And you can keep shouting out. I'm going to keep reading them as we go along. Okay, tip number 3 is pick a topic. Why is this important? So I'm showing a book club here, but it's important to have some sort of a theme to whatever it is you're doing on a regular basis. Don't just invite people week after week and expect them to come back when there is no theme. You need to have some sort of a pointed theme so that they come back and they feel like, oh, I'm going to learn something today. So I'll give you another example. I recently started working with a company, and I'm going to type this actually in the chat, called Optimal Work. Here we go. And you can find them. They have a website. They also have a YouTube channel, and they have a podcast. And one of the things that I like about them is they're talking about improving your working habits. So talking about concentration, talking about sleep, talking about all the things that make it necessary for us to really work at a peak performance without driving ourselves crazy, right? Because we want to have that life balance that says, okay, now I'm working and now I'm resting. And one of the things that they talk about is the myth of working at 2 things simultaneously. So we've heard that idea of multitasking, and they said what's really more effective is working sequentially. So having sequential things that you're going to do, and then kind of setting yourself up and saying, okay, this is what I'm going to do next and next. What I love about this particular group, it's actually, I think it's 3 men that run Optimal Work, but one of them is a psychiatrist. So he's a medical doctor, and he teaches at Harvard Medical School. And he's using some of these techniques with Harvard students to become better students, for people to become better workers. And so I was introduced to this group, Optimal Work, when I was in Dallas. Actually, one of the friends that we were able to meet while we were there. And I should give a shout out actually to Connor R., because Connor has been a mentor to my son and also to our family now for, I want to say, about 5 or 6 years. And he always has the most wonderful suggestions, and many of the things that he's recommended to us as a family, or to my son as a student, we've incorporated into our entire life and our entire family. So shout out to Connor R. Thank you for this wonderful recommendation for Optimal Work. And if you are interested in figuring out, how can I be a better worker? How can I do things more efficiently or effectively? This is an easy, most of their podcasts are about 20 minutes, not super long, and their videos are actually wonderful. So look them up and see what you find. So again, picking a topic, staying focused, not working on 25 things at once. I love that when I am on, especially some of the chat groups from Singapore and Malaysia and the Philippines, that there is a theme. So even when we see the corporate announcements for what are the topics that are coming up, it's clearly listed for us and it's clearly delineated. We want to make sure that people understand what are they coming for, right? We're not just inviting them and saying, hey, show up, we're going to talk about oils. Although sometimes that works at the end, a little bit of chit chat. We want to make sure that there's something to talk about. So the other thing is we don't want to fall into the trap of only talking about, I don't know, COVID or how things are, what's not going right, right? We want to have something to say. And we also want to make sure that we are providing guidance for people, which is why optimal work is a wonderful thing, but so are good books. And we'll talk about good books, I think, the next couple of weeks. But that idea that having a good classical library that you can refer to and that helps you to become a better person, to build those virtues, to build those character traits that we need to become strong leaders, to have empathy, reasoning ability, social perception, emotional intelligence, right? They're all super important. We also build our vocabulary as we read. So you've heard me say before, leaders are readers. If you right now can't actually pick up a book and read, then listen to something. The benefits will be for both you and for your friends and for your team. The next thing I want to point out to you is an emotional check-in. So many people not right now are some of them are doing great and others of them are falling through the cracks. And we want to make sure that we're emotionally checking in with people, allowing them to open up their emotions. I find sometimes myself, I will very often do a long catalog list of what's going on, but never really identifying the emotion. When it comes to emotion, I can be a little bit closed down. I don't want to maybe reveal it, or it seems too painful for me. So it's very easy for me to describe an activity or a series of events or what someone said or what was the occurrence, but not to really get down to the meat of the matter, which was how was I feeling at that time? And I think that's important too. When we talk to others, how were they feeling about that? And maybe just asking them, what were you feeling at that moment? And they may not be able to fully describe it to you, but allow them to open up that space for them so they can express their feelings to you. You want to find or choose an emotional check-in buddy also for yourself. This is like having an accountability partner, because in this business we have ups and downs. You want to feel that there's a person that you can be accountable to and can be accountable to you. So if you've had an accountability partner in the past, and I didn't hear as many shout outs, but I want to hear about accountability partners now, because that can also be a shout out. Who's been an accountability partner to you? Or who have you been an accountability partner for? But tell me first, who's been an accountability partner for you? Who's helped you to stay on track? I can think of a lot of people on this call that have been accountability partners for others. Everyone who shouted out somebody else has been an accountability partner and a leader. But tell me about your accountability partners, and I'll actually give you a moment while I'm talking about this emotional check-in. Oftentimes you may find you have friends that you spend time with laughing and joking and having a good time, but that you're never really getting to talking to a moment about thoughts, emotions, and feelings. So now that we're at home, it's opened my eyes to having someone that you can sit with, your good feelings and your bad. It's a lot more important, I think, than I believed. And someone who you can connect with on a personal level and work through the good, the bad, and the ugly, and can not only make your day better, but can help to validate all the feelings that you're having. So interestingly enough, talking about this trip to Texas, one of the things I think that I was feeling before I left was that idea that everything was kind of piled on top of me and I was feeling overwhelmed. And it wasn't until I started listening to optimal work and also talking with some people that are more skilled in this, in psychology and psychiatry, I began to realize that we need to kind of separate out or tease out what are our responsibilities. Even in a day like today, which is the last day of the month, I'm sure everybody's scrambling around. It's 10 to 10 and I'm still talking. Some of you may be thinking, I got to get off. I got to finish my month. You know, Elena, hurry. It's important to identify what's the next task that I need to do and to form all of our energy into that one thing and not to distract ourselves and to you know, fracture our energy, if you will. So that emotional check-in with another person as you sit consistently with them is extremely important. And yes, that's my other telephone ringing. I'm hoping maybe my husband will pick it up. If not, we're going to just listen to it for a second. Teresa C says, Karen J has been consistently there throughout my doTERRA journey. I'm currently in oil games, have been assigned an accountability partners. They are wonderful. So yes, if you haven't heard about oil games, it's a terrific place. Mary Teresa, you can post the link in the chat group for us. To really a wonderful thing, a way to stay motivated and for you to build your business, oil games. Okay, last thing, my last tip for you is a viewing party. And so what I'd love for you to do is, we all know the convention is coming. Hopefully most of you are registered and many of you, I'm hoping, are going to be able to get together in groups because that's part of the journey of observing convention, going to convention. This year we're not going to go, but we're going to all watch. I'm going to have as many viewing parties as I possibly can, maybe even just invite people spontaneously to come over. They can watch it during the day. I may watch some things recorded or maybe go back and review, but I'd like to be able to see as much as I can live. A live viewing party can also help you to sort of discuss what's happening on the screen right away. So especially when new products are coming out or maybe some of the new science is being revealed to us, that's an important time for you to be able to connect with people. Now, I'm sure that you've seen the schedule of classes that I'm going to be doing here. Next week, we're going to be talking about monthly products and how best ways to use them. And then the following 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about the essential oils, and we're going to talk about convention. And the reason we're going to do it over 2 weeks is because we usually need at least 1 week to talk about what are the new products and a little bit of the science behind them. And then the second thing is perhaps all the science and then the business building. So if you've never been to a convention, you don't know what it is, you've never heard about it, make sure you're registering convention. Tell me in the chat who's registered for convention now. Just, you're a little quiet in the chat. I want to hear from you. Who's registered for convention? So I am definitely registered. I actually got my swag box. I don't know if any of you have gotten your swag box ready. Vincent says he's registered. Sihan says he's registered. Fayreen says she's registered. Swan B is registered. Elaine, Lynette, okay, Christy. Christy got her swag. Did anybody get their swag? Schwa is registered. Dardanella. Lei Lang, great. Quinny, yes. Joy, yes. Great. Keep them coming. Let me know if you're registered. Regina is registered. Regina, I know you're newer. Welcome back. Ziang is registered. Pamela, okay, good. I'm glad to hear. So we're about 50 on this call this morning. I'd love to see at least 25 or 30 people that are telling me that they're registered, if not more. If you are not registered, please be sure to register or contact the person who invited you to this call and ask them, how do I do it? I'm not really sure. You can always Google doTERRA, doTERRA Convention 2020, and you'll find the registration that way. Swan B says, can't wait to receive the swag. Swag is fun. I have to say, when my swag box came, my husband opened it. He was the first one who we were sort of unloading some, you know how it is when you get back from vacation, you got a ton of mail and boxes and so on. And one of the first things he grabbed was the box that said doTERRA on it because it said convention. And he started opening up to see what was in there because usually the swag is pretty cool. I won't tell you what it is in case you haven't received yours yet, but it looks really nice. Z says, swag for Singapore Market will not receive this month. Full packet only arrived in October. Okay, so hang in there. I know that's happened to me in the past too. I was one of the late receivers of the swag, but you know what? Loved it when it finally came. Gisela asks, what is this convention for? How much is it and what's the swag and where do I find this information? Gisela, I'm so glad you're asking that question. That's wonderful. So the convention is a way for doTERRA corporate to teach us about all the new products that they're releasing this year, and also to teach us a little bit about the science of the products that we have come to know and love. And over a period of 3 days, usually live in Utah, but this year it's going to be completely recorded. Actually, it'll be live streamed first and then recorded. doTERRA, over a series, as I said, of multiple days, will get up and talk to us about why we use certain things, what's the best way to use them, how we can improve our health, what are some of the things that we really need to know to stay healthy today, tomorrow, and into the future. I have to say, knowing that I have been taking essential oils and natural health products for so many years, and my health has continued to stay very, very stable. And even though every day I get a little bit older, I think all of us do, right? It's that idea that I'm learning something, and I've incorporated so many of the things that I've learned. So there'll be different speakers, there'll be entertainment, there'll be music and dancing and whatever it is that you could possibly want about doTERRA, want to know about doTERRA or doTERRA products, or how to stay healthy, or even just a little bit of fun and games. It's all going to be there for you on the live stream. So Gisela, if you have not registered yet, and what I'll do is before the end, if anybody has the registration link, if they can post it for me because I don't have it on the screen. Oh, thank you, Z, thank you. So Gisela, that's the link. And all the information and the schedule is going to be there, and it's very reasonably priced. I know that in every market it's a little bit different, but in the US market it is very reasonably priced for what you get. And you get a bag or a box of swag, and the swag will include things like notebooks, pens, an agenda, a backpack, all different sorts of items that ordinarily you would carry around in a convention, and they're all branded with doTERRA. So included in your ticket is this box of swag, which is really sort of cool. I love things. I don't know. And I love all the branded doTERRA stuff. It's really, I save it. Sometimes I give it away later on, but I really do love it. It's fun to see. Okay, everyone. I want to say thank you to our Presidential Diamond team. I haven't seen you guys in 2 weeks. Missed you so much, but I think you can feel that I'm revived, right? I'm revived and refreshed, and I have more energy. I feel more peaceful. I feel more focused, and that was the whole point of going on vacation and being able to see my son off. It was a wonderful journey, and I'm sure I'll be telling you more about it in the weeks ahead. I will see you back here next week. As you know, the ideas expressed here were primarily from the book, Essential Oils Healthcare for Today, A Beginner's Guide. If you are interested in an ebook, go to ElenaJordan.com and sign up for our free resources. We always have free resources there. And today, like no other day, we are always adding different things, and we'll be updating. There's the free resources that you can find. You can also, join us on social media. So we're on Instagram, and you can follow on Instagram. I think in the weeks ahead, we're going to do some cool giveaways, including maybe even, I know this sounds crazy, but we may be doing a convention kit giveaway. I know, maybe in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned. That's a big deal. And we'll be doing that only on Instagram. And then finally on YouTube, this will be recorded and posted on YouTube later today. And as have all of our presentations in English and in Spanish. And there's a whole library there of anything that you could possibly use to get onto YouTube. And if you get on YouTube, you can find everything there. And I'll post that link as well. I mixed up my Instagram link, but I am posting my YouTube link here. For everyone who's on, there we go. For everyone who's on, I just want to say thank you. Remember, you are amazing. You all have big hearts, and that's why you're here. And I want you to help you preserve the safety and your personal safety and the safety of your family and friends. And that's why we get together every week, especially during this very unusual time. I've stopped calling it difficult or a challenge, because now it's metamorphosized into something different. And we'll see how the next few months unfold, but I'm really excited. I want to thank you for being here, and have a wonderful week. Okay, so in about a minute, I am going to pick our winners for today, but I also wanted to mention to you that in addition to having some prizes that we're going to be giving away on Instagram, so if you follow on Instagram Elena Jordan, you'll be able to find upcoming contests. I'm sure that doTERRA is going to be giving away a lot of free product during the convention, and they've already announced that. And they've been having all sorts of contests and giveaways on Facebook and on Instagram. So keep in contact with doTERRA and with us, and you'll be able to find out more things. I'm super excited about the products. I cannot even begin to guess what they're going to be releasing. Anybody have any guesses about what would you guess? If you had a guess, what would you guess? And I'm going to actually show a different screen so I can see gallery view. Anybody have a guess? What could they possibly be presenting this year? What are some of the new products? If you possibly, I'm stumped, I have to say. Does anybody have any ideas? Maybe a new shampoo, Teresa says. Maybe. Yep, I'm thinking of different formats, maybe for different products, or new roll-ons, perhaps. Maybe new supplements. I don't know. We often have new diffusers. That's right, Z, sorry. We often have new diffusers, so that's always a fun thing. I don't know. I can't even think. Are they going to maybe they're expanding the kids line. Maybe they're coming out with a pet line. That would be kind of cool, because we've been talking about pets a lot. I don't know. We'll have to see. I think it's going to be a really exciting convention, and I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out that's new. And every year they surprise me, I have to say. I've never gone to convention and said, oh, that's boring. It's always something that's amazing, whether it's the single essential oils, the blends, or some of the new product extensions that we find out. Brittany says hand sanitizer. Yep, maybe. Z says, yeah, big, anticipating for the pet line. So that may be something that we find out. Last thing I wanted to mention to you is we are going into the busiest time of the year. So from now through Christmas, doTERRA is going to be lit up like a Christmas tree. And there's going to be a lot of people asking for products, inquiring about products, wanting to know about the new products. And you are going to be in just a unique place. So these months, so September, October, November, and December, 4 months are your time to just blossom. If you've been a little bit quiet or you've been a little bit shy, introducing people to the new products is an easy way to get back into contact with people, whether it's people that haven't been around for a while, brand new people. I will often set out some sort of an email or a Zoom meeting or something for anybody who wants to know about the new products. And you can bet that that first meeting that we have, once we know what the new products are, is going to be a really big one. So I'll probably be repeating that in a couple of languages. If you've been on if you've been on YouTube and if you've seen some of our recorded messages, you know that we also have messages in Spanish, so that if you do have Spanish speaking team members, you can go onto the Spanish tab and you can find all of the things that are available right there. We've had some really fun ladies on that Spanish Zoom class, so I think you'll really enjoy it. We've got Myri, who's just super dynamic, and Sylvia, and they've been helping out almost every week when we've been doing our Spanish presentations, and we'll be back doing that again this week, so I'm very excited. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it has been wonderful seeing you. I am going to pick my winners now. To those of you who are not on the live and who are going to watch this via YouTube, I'm going to say farewell to all my YouTube people. And have a wonderful week.